Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles!
Hello there, Gamerinos and Gamerinas. Welcome to UnicornStorm. This is Rady, and today I'm going to politely advise you to fucking play the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. It's totally worth your while and your hard-earned money, and if you truly can't shell out the $25 for it, then you'd be happy to hear that this game is part of the Xbox GamePass library on console as well as on PC. So, come on, grab a hot and tasty pepperoni slice and play some Turtles. But before we jump into this first impressions review thingy, holy hell, it was a pain to capture footage of this game. Every time I tried to record some gameplay, something went wrong. The software captured the gameplay in the wrong resolution, or without sound, or my PC just crashed and ruined the whole recording. It nearly drove me insane. But fortunately, this game is enough fun so that it doesn't sting too bad to have to play it over and over again just to capture a bit of footage. But yeah, just so you know, I suffered for your enjoyment. Like always. Let's move on.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, heroes in the hot shell.
The awesomeness starts right off the bat. When you boot up the game, it opens with this radical animated intro that might as well have been straight out of the cartoon, accompanied by this tubular rendition of the original theme song. If this doesn't get you in the mood for some Turtles actions, I don't know what will. Well, maybe the beautiful and lively pixel art that's so full of charm. Just look at it. It's colorful with tons of detail, yet it stays clear. All the characters kinda pop, so they'll never get lost in all the chaos, and their colors make it easy to differentiate between different enemy types. Animations are expressive and lavish, and enemies have clearly visible wind-ups that make it easy to anticipate their attacks, most of the time. The characters are full of personality, how they perform their attacks or their taunts and idle animations. When the enemies aren't actively fighting you, they seem to just go about their day. You can observe them cooking, sleeping, shopping, or having some ice cream or carrying lunch trays. I mean, it wouldn't have been necessary to give them so many different animations. But the developers just did! And it doesn't stop with the characters. The backgrounds are awesome as hell, and they're so incredibly well put together. There's not just an endless stretch of walls that looks the same save for a door or a window here and there. It's more like every screen, or well, any area the approximate width of a screen, looks like a wholly unique environment. It never is, of course, but the designers put a lot of effort into making it feel like it is. They could have just used long wall stretches and spaced out some doors and windows on it and put some decorative objects every few meters, and it would have looked alright. But they went the extra mile to create more natural or more authentic environments, where they went all out with the detail. The whole game is just pleasant to look at. And when you're fighting through these great looking stages, you get to listen to an awesome soundtrack reminiscent of early 90s arcade games with its energetic and funky sound. And even here the game isn't lazy and is not afraid to experiment a bit. With some electro hip-hop that reminded me a bit of boomfunk MCs. Or late 80s pop rock or early 90s rap reminiscent of Wu-Tang Clan. They pulled out all the stops with this soundtrack. It's all bangers from start to finish. And as for the gameplay, It's glorious. It's standard fare for 2D beat-em-ups, but it's so well executed. You traverse each stage from left to right with plenty of stops to beat up a horde of enemies before continuing on. Enemies just lie in wait or appear from the side or the background or out of hiding spots. I already mentioned the great animation, due to which pretty much every hit you take is pretty much your own fault for the most part. As for your own moves, you have basic punches that build up to a 4-hit combo, a super move that requires a fully charged super meter, and you do charge it up by successfully attacking enemies without getting hit in the process. By holding the attack button you can charge up a strong attack you'll mostly use to break through blocks or shields. You can jump and with that perform 2 different jump attacks, one where you attack while jumping up in the air, and another where you use the momentum to slam down. And thank God, you can use both during a single jump. You also get a dodge maneuver with accompanying follow-up attack that you can use to get some distance from enemies or even roll through attacks and projectiles, thanks to the ever more popular growing iframes. You can also run into enemies to automatically grab them and throw them in one of 3 different ways. And that's pretty much it for your arsenal. By simply defeating enemies you'll level up and unlock better stats and more moves, though not too many, not that you need too many moves. This game is more about positioning and knowing when to punch, when to jump attack and, most importantly, when to dodge out of the way. It's an inherent flaw of 2D brawlers that they quickly become quite monotonous. This game combats that by having levels not overstay their welcome and offer a lot of different combat encounters throughout, with different environmental hazards and interactable objects. As for the enemies themselves, they all use vastly different moves and require a different approach. There's the usual fodder enemy, there's dudes that charge up and hit hard so you need to dodge, there's enemies that throw projectiles you can deflect, and some that have less distance but can't be blocked. There's guys with shields where you need to charge up a strong attack, and guys with morning stars where you need to attack at the right moment or avoid their attack first and then retaliate. There's flying drones that shoot lasers at you, or robots that trap you with cables they shoot at you. There's dog-like robots that bite and hold onto you, and bigger dog robots that spawn more of the little dog robots. Every enemy type has its own unique behavior, so you kinda know what to expect, but throw them together in different combinations and you have to think and act quickly to get out of any given encounter unscathed. It feels very intuitive and so far never felt like a nuisance or cheap or anything like that. Every level ends with a boss battle against one of the many iconic Turtles villains from the cartoon or the comics or whatever. And those battles can have some moments of slight frustration when the AI decides it only uses this one move where the huge ass boss enemy becomes just a wall of damage. You can still get a hit in, but it's very easy to get hit yourself and thrown to the ground for 2 seconds or so, which lasts an eternity during a heated battle. It's not too bad, but I guess it gets annoying as hell when you try to complete the no-hit challenge that's available for every level. You can play through a stage as one of a bunch of different iconic characters that all use the same basic controls but have different stats like attack range or speed, and of course different attack animations. There's the Turtles themselves with their iconic weapon styles, as well as their Sensei Splinter, Casey Jones, and even April O'Neil, who shows that she can hold her own against robots and ninjas. I mean, she has been dealing with those creeps for nearly 40 years, and she still rocks that banana raincoat. The game is perfectly playable on your own, but the true fun lies in its multiplayer, where you can let up to 5 friends join you to tear the Foot Clan a new one. I haven't been able to get a full session together, but when I joined up with 2 friends, we had a shit ton of fun. The further you get and the more enemies appear though, has the screen soon completely cluttered. And I can't imagine, well, I can imagine how chaotic it may get with 6 players. But I guess that's where the fun comes from at that point. Fortunately, there's nothing of that friendly fire bullshit in this game. It also doesn't seem that there are more or stronger enemies in multiplayer. Maybe the bosses have more health? It appeared like we took longer to beat a boss in multiplayer than in single player, but other than that, The game doesn't seem to increase the difficulty, so maybe crank it up yourself when you play with 2 or more friends. To come to a conclusion here, this game is just awesome. Not only because of the slick and fun gameplay, the amazing pixel art and the great soundtrack, but also because this game respects gamers and players and video game enthusiasts, or however you want to call it. This game is a blast from the past, not only in its setting, but also in the way it functions as a piece of entertainment. It's a well-crafted, complete experience made with care and so much attention to detail. Every stage looks different and sounds different. Every character plays and looks and talks different and has its own small brand of humor. Right now this might be my game of the year because of how it handles its legacy as a retro throwback, as a licensed game, and as a kind of sequel to the Turtles arcade games. This is a piece of nostalgia in more than one way, but also a fucking great modern action game that you should play with some friends, on the couch, or at least in online multiplayer, and have a blast. And if you'd tried this game on Game Pass and enjoyed it so far, consider actually buying it to show that we want more of this kind of game that's just fucking fun and respects its players. So with that, have a radical day. That's it from Bite Master Rady, and I hope to see you again on the next Turbula game.